Well, the Mama Afrika Pan-African Festival is taking place today, and the event is designed to celebrate the rich and diverse culture of Africa, its people, fashion and cuisine. So on the lineup, you can expect to see the likes of Somizi Mhlongo, Ramuchweni, with a guest appearance by Mama Katrina Esau and actors from the Mama Afrika movie, as well as a soundtrack performance by our very own Kimberly Fray. Well, Kimberly joins us now for a little taste of what to expect later on in the afternoon. And of course, Kimberly, if you did not know, actually, is our colleague here at eNCA, Afrikaans news anchor, and of course she's part of the production team to put together this wonderful show that we get to enjoy. But Kim, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's talk a little bit about this journey of poetry.
Yeah.
When did it start for you, and when did you decide, you know what, I'm going to take this much more seriously?
Yeah, so I've been writing since I was a very young child. I was journaling, writing short stories and just writing down my thoughts. I collected books and I would just write things down. And eventually, my poetry journey didn't start until later, until I started understanding what poetry was and how to project my feelings and my experiences into something that could be called poetry. And when I was a teenager, I started writing poetry. It wasn't great, so I just kept it to myself. And then eventually, I started a blog. My very first blog was called Thoughts on a String. And, I would play around on my blog and I would write things down and I would publish it. And, a lot of people would react positively to it and say they related to things, they enjoyed the way I wrote, they loved the way I expressed myself. And I realized poetry was actually a form of setting myself free from my own feelings, my thoughts, my things that would keep me hostage, and I would express it that way through my writing, through my poetry. And yeah, I've been doing it since, like I was a teenager. And yeah, I'm hoping to continue writing poetry, and I'm hoping to eventually publish a book one day of poetry. And yeah, we'll see where the journey takes me.
The beautiful thing about it is that I've actually read a blog, your blogs as well. As I said, we're colleagues. So we're very biased when it comes to this conversation because, I mean, she is really one of our own. And the beauty about it is that you're saying that you were able to find your expression through the words that you wrote. Now, women are going through so much these days. They're having to navigate family dynamics. Some having to navigate gender-based violence and femicide. Others having to navigate motherhood, parenthood, and the like. There's just financial issues, financial constraints, economic issues and the like. And a lot of people feel as though they're being choked by their circumstances and they've got no way of actually speaking. How does writing actually help you? Number one, heal, because I think there's a lot of healing that is needed, but how does writing and expression help one actually get to the point of healing?
Yeah. So I think, when you're sitting with your thoughts, it's inside of you. You're sitting with it, you're mulling over it, you're thinking about it, you overthink about it. So for me personally, when I write it down, whether it's a poem, whether it's just a blog and me just writing my thoughts down, I see it on the page. And I look at it from a perspective where I'm on the outside now and I'm not consumed by those feelings. And all the things I write from experiences. Everything, there's nothing that I write that I just make up out of nowhere. Everything that I write from a point of what I've experienced, whether it's parenting, whether it's motherhood, whether it's anything. It comes from a point of experience. And I think that is what makes the healing process so beautiful, is because I've experienced it, the pain, the worries, the doubt, the anxieties, and I put it on the paper, and that way I own it. It doesn't own me.
Oh, you got to repeat that. So when you write down and you write down your thoughts, because this is good. This is going to be good even for people that are looking at journaling, for example, saying that I am choking under these feelings of frustration and I feel as though I'm drowning in my own thoughts, in my own mind, right? You're saying that by writing something down, you get to own it, but it doesn't own you.
Exactly, because you're letting it go. It's poetry or writing or expressing yourself in any form, whether it's dance, whether it's music, the arts especially. It's a way of letting go of something that's been keeping you hostage, whether it's things that happened in your past, whether it's things that are currently happening. When you express it, when you're using your body to express it, you're using your voice, you're using music, you're letting it go and you're making it into something beautiful. And that way, everyone else can relate to it. It's not just your pain, it's not just your experience, but someone will come to you and say, wow, I actually related to what you said. I actually related to that song or that book or whatever it might be, and you spoke to my soul. You said something that I didn't know how to say.
Sure.
And that is the power of it.
And let's talk a little bit also about this Mama Afrika Pan-African Festival that is taking place today. What can we expect?
Sure, it's very exciting. So it's happening in Freedom Park, Pretoria. Doors open at 12, right? So we're going to have Somizi and Ramichuene as our hosts. Mama Afrika Pan-African Festival is a way of bringing Africans together under one roof. It's about expression, it's about art, it's about looking beyond our troubles as Africans. It's looking beyond all the things that we hold against each other as Africans. It's about bringing all Africans together in one space, whether you're from Nigeria or Zimbabwe or wherever. It's us coming together and celebrating the beauty of being Africans. And that's basically the gist of Mama Afrika. It's telling the story of how how we separated, but then how art brings us together. So it's going to be music, it's going to be poetry, it's going to be dance, it's going to be fashion, it's going to be African cuisine, it's everything at Freedom Park today. I'm very excited.
I'm very excited as well to have you really take the stage on when it comes to poetry. As I said, we've had the privilege of working with Kimberly for quite some time now, and of course her writing, if anything to go by, is absolutely excellent. I'm going to let you release you so that you can go ahead and start preparing this. She's going to be blessing us with a rendition of one of her poetry. I think it's called Writings on the Wall, and of course Kimberly Fray is about to really just show us a little bit about what we can expect later today at the Mama Afrika Pan-African Festival. Kimberly Fray, it is over to you.
The Writings on the Wall. Stones and sticks and clay and bricks tell the stories of our history. Written in blood and sweat and thousands of tears, I sit in the quiet of the memory hall, feeling my throat close up and tears start to flow. How could it be that a people like me were treated like less than dirt under my feet? I read about how they painted in song, wrote stories on stone walls, making their voices known as only they could. Dreams shared by entire generations, almost wiped out by white-skinned men who came from afar on a ship with flags and guns and Bibles and a foreign tongue. We watched you from the shore. We greeted you and welcomed you with smiles and meals. You smiled back, the greed showing on your gnashing teeth. On our sacred land where we were born free, they came and beat us, chained us, and took what was ours, made us pay for what we farmed and what we sowed. Our mothers and fathers watered the soil with their blood. From it grew the bones of our ancestors, the bones we used to make bows and arrows, and made us fight for what was ours in the first place. I'm an African. I can hear the screams. I'm of this earth and of the sky and of this land. I'm an African. Of this earth we were born, sold as slaves as a child. We are also human, they say, while they tie us to a donkey or horse. The heartbeat of the earth beating beneath our bare feet, the only sign we are still alive. You beat us, you chained us, and you took what was ours.